You have been absolutely owned and outplayed. I have clickbaited you so hard. This video is not about Asta at all. I just used him in the thumbnail to get you to click on the video, get clickbaited, get owned. This video has literally nothing to do with Black Clover. I'm not even really going to be talking about anime at all. Okay, was that long enough to get the Black Clover people out of here? Because uh, truth is, I actually didn't clickbait you. I am talking about that. But I was hoping if I put that little buffer at the start of the video that maybe they would get sad and leave. So maybe, hopefully it work. And really quick before I start ripping this little dwarf apart, I just want to say if you are curious about video requests and if I'm still doing them or like what's going on with that, I'll talk about it at the end of the video. But I want to get started talking about why I think Asta from Black Clover is the worst character design in all of anime, right? And specifically shonen anime, because it's obviously the most comparable, because Black Clover is a shonen anime, a battle shonen at that. And battle shonen tend to put more emphasis on character design. They put more into it. It's more important things looking cool than maybe things being well written. That's something that got started kind of a while back and it's become the norm. So I want to compare it to other shonen characters, and people always, always call Black Clover a part of the quote unquote new big three, which is quite frankly infuriating. Sit the fuck down, kid. You have not earned that pedigree, so stop saying that. Black Clover is nowhere near even the worst filler arcs of the big three, so silence. But when it comes to the big three, Naruto, Bleach, One Piece, I don't watch One Piece. I've never watched One Piece. So the two that I'm familiar with are Naruto and Bleach. And as you all know, for Naruto and Bleach, I'm the rank one power scaler in the world. I've yet to be dethroned. So that's what I'm going to be comparing it to, right? And if you know Battle Shonen, one thing you know is that there are basically three must have different forms that a character takes. You have just your base form, the way that they're hanging out, when they're walking around the world not doing anything. You have battle mode, what they go into to fight. And then you've got rage mode, when inevitably your shonen protagonist loses control and goes berserk. This is the mode they go into. And usually, not always, but usually these follow a linear path in coolness, we'll say. They get cooler and a little bit edgier and more badass as we go up the scale. Base form is usually, not normal because they're an anime character, but it's not too extreme. And then their fighting form will typically be more detailed, have more things going on, and be a little bit cooler, maybe have a different color scheme or whatever. And then rage mode will almost always be the coolest and the scariest looking. So, we are going to compare those three forms with each other of the three anime that I talked about, right? Naruto, Bleach, and then obviously Black Clover, because that's what we're talking about. And it just so happens that all three of them follow this battle shonen formula. So they all have a base form, a battle mode, a battle form, whatever, and a rage form. So we're going to start off, we're going to look at Naruto, right? Here's his base form. Not too bad. He's just chilling. He's pretty colorful, right? He's mostly orange. He's got some good bandage wrap on the legs. He's got the classic headband, the bright yellow hair. He is very visually distinct, right? He's got colors. He's fun to look at, I think at least. The mix of orange and black with a little bit of yellow and white. Nice. Very good. Next up, we will look at Ichigo. And for the record, it was incredibly hard to find pictures of Ichigo on Google, so I'm sorry, but these ones aren't going to look amazing. I don't know what happened, but I just couldn't find them. But for Ichigo, I'm not counting his human form, because while that is technically the form that he is, that's his base form, he's almost never in it. Whenever anything is happening in the anime, he is in Shinigami mode. So I feel that it would be unfair. I mean, he's just a human in his human form. He just looks like a person. So when he is in his Shikai state, right, like his normal base mode that he's running around in, oh, look at that. He's got those black robes, the red beads. That's pretty nice. The big fucking scary sword with the crazy edge on it. Tite Kubo has no idea how swords work, but that's fine because it looks cool. Again, orange color. I like that with the red as well. He's got that, I think it is like canonically bandage material, right? That's coming off the end of his sword. Nice. This is pretty cool to look at. He's very different from most shonen MCs because he's in like a robe, basically. He's in very loose clothing versus typically tighter clothing. And then finally, we have Asta, by far the worst of the bunch. So, let's start it out. No fun hair color, absolutely bullshit. His hair is just a gross, dirty gray. It looks like he had white hair and he just hasn't washed it in a year. His colors in general are very muted. He has like a dull, darker blue. He's showing way too much leg. His shoes look like cowboy boots made by a cross-dressing homeless man, but it like one that was on crack and didn't know what he was doing. The sleeves are super weird. Why is he showing so much forearm? I know Ichigo is, but that makes sense because that's how long his sleeves are. He has like long sleeves that have been folded up and are like origami mode. How is that possible? Is he starching his cuffs every day? That's strange. And the V-neck, literally the worst cut of shirt on the planet. If you're gonna wear just a t-shirt, it can't be a V-neck. And then just the dumb black headband. Ugh, he's just boring. He's boring. There's nothing special about him. But to be fair, it's always the most boring mode. So let's move on to the next one. So slight disclaimer before we move on to the battle form. Ichigo and Naruto have quite a few, more than Asta. Asta has, the one, and Ichigo and Naruto have a lot. So I went ahead and picked what I thought was just the most boring of their forms because Ichigo and Naruto both have way cooler battle forms that they use later on, but I chose like earlier things that were less badass. So for Naruto, we have him in his Sage Mode form, what he fights pain in, and I gotta say, I did not remember how much I liked Sage Mode. You got, obviously, still the yellow hair, the classic headband, the orange is still nice, but the addition of this, like, red and black, it's like a short sleeve trench coat almost. Fantastic. The scroll, mwah, beautiful. I don't know what it is about that big ass scroll, but I very much like it. And then, most importantly, the detail with the eyes, the irises and pupils being different. That is fucking great. I love this form. It's not my favorite Naruto form, but I very much do enjoy it. But it's surprisingly simple. So if we move on to Ichigo, his is, I would say, even more simple. So the clothes get a little bit tighter. They change shape. You get this sort of torn fabric look, and his sword just becomes sleeker and 100% black. So very similar to Shikai, but I like this one more. It's not my favorite Ichigo form, obviously. My favorite Ichigo form, if you're wondering, is Fullbring Shikai Ichigo. So there you go. But like I said, to make it fair, I'm using what I think are the simplest forms in battle that Ichigo and Naruto take. So there's Ichigo's. There's not a whole lot more to say. He's showing a lot less wrist. That's nice. The less skin you show, the tougher you are. He's still got the nice red, white, and black color scheme with that poppin' orange hair. Beautiful. Amazing. And then you've got Asta. And the literal only change to his form when he's fighting is that he pulls out a disgusting, stupid sword that is just a bad design. I mean, this sword would be awful to use. I don't know why. Who would ever design a sword so thick? It has literally no purpose. But that is the only change he gets. His outfit doesn't change. It might look, I may have tricked you into thinking that his outfit changed because you can see he's got that little black, like, I don't know, it's like a dicky version of a cape almost. But that's just because the pictures I used, the first one was pre-Black Bulls, so he has that all the time. The literal only change is that he pulls some fucking rusty-ass piece of shit sword out. So round 2, Asta loses yet again. Surprise, surprise. And then finally, usually the like most normal people who just watch Battle Shonen for the big fights, these are the forms that they like the most. We have, starting off with Naruto, we have his four-tailed mode that I'm remembering correctly was also used during the pain fight. Fantastic. I mean, this is like, I really, really enjoy this. Black and red is like a killer color scheme, but the whole thing he's got going on with the eyes and mouth just being like these horrible white voids, it's very reminiscent of Gon from Hunter x Hunter, so I like that. But just this sort of weird, swirling, almost blood-like effect. I mean, he just looks scary. He looks demonic. He looks like someone that I would personally never want to fight. So very nice. 10 out of 10. And then we have Ichigo's Vastolorde form. Ooh, mwah. There's something about having just a pristine bone white body that Bleach, or I should say Tite Kubo, realized how good it looked. And so just the whole hollow aesthetic in general is absolutely killer. But again, we're keeping that same color theme. You know, you got the red flare around the neck on the collarbones. You've got the black in the form of the one torn off, well, I guess actually the sleeve is the only thing that hasn't been torn off technically. The black, what I'm going to call tattoos, that, I mean, they're technically not tattoos. The hole in the chest, oh, baby, that's nice. And then finally, my favorite part, the absolute bold choice to make front-facing horns, which is very atypical, and oh my God, what? That's amazing. I remember when I first saw this, I was like, holy shit, his horns face to the front. Why has nature never done that? And then obviously the really scary hollow mouth. The long orange hair is nice, but overall, a beautiful form. And finally, we have Asta. So, similar to Ichigo, I mean, to be honest, this is like yikers, dude. You pretty obvious how inspired they were by other forms, but whatever. You might not even be able to tell from this image, but he also has a horn, and it's front facing. But it's incredibly hard to see on account of some idiot decided that a black horn on a black head was a good idea, so you can't see it. He kind of looks like a broke-ass budget version of Meliodas a little bit, but really all he did was he essentially just changed his outfit. I mean, he didn't. This was done to him. But essentially, this is just an outfit change into shorts, and then one arm turned black, and one side of his hair turned black. He grew like a stupid wing that reminds me of Margot's wet nurse from Bloodborne, where it's like that wing is not functional at all. That couldn't fly. And then he gets like some tendrils on his sword. Overall, it's definitely his best form. It's like a solid 4 out of 10. It loses a lot of points on account of it is a very hard copy of 3 other shonens. So, I mean, you can't give it too much credit, right? It's not like they came up with it. So there you have it. I've proved beyond a shadow of a doubt that Asta is objectively the worst designed character. No, I'm just kidding. I haven't seen every single anime. None of us have. So, of course, the title's hyperbole, and nobody knows what the worst character design in anime is because nobody has seen all. Nobody's probably even seen like 20% of all anime. So, technically, yes, it is hyperbole, but I do genuinely believe that out of all of the anime that Black Clover ever gets compared to, it is leagues below in terms of design. He looks terrible, he looks bad. I can't think of any characters off the top of my head that look worse than him. If I really thought for a long time, maybe I could come up with one. But so I get it. Technically, this video is subjective. Suck my ass. And I just think it's funny to bring attention to this because the lack of effort put into Asta's character design is a perfect allegory for Black Clover in general. It's just, why would you bother putting in any effort on your end when you can just take a bunch of shit from series that already exist and gain success with that? You don't even have to care about the main character. Just glue a bunch of random shit together and you're like, oh, perfect, there he is. So, Asta sucks. There, I said it. Black Clover is also trash. Fight me in real life. Video requests. I promised I'd talk about them, so here we are. I'm still doing them, is basically what I want to say. The caveat is I'm absolutely not doing every one of them because people are insane and request videos that make literally no sense and could not work as a video. So I want to say I'm still doing video requests if it is possible to actually make it into a video. I don't do reviews, and like half of the video requests I've gotten at least are saying, can you review this anime? I don't review anime, dude. I don't review anything. So no, I can't do a review. However, If you have an actual human video request that's possible to do, I will absolutely do it. So there you go. That's the new policy. I'll do video requests as long as they can actually be made into videos. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will be back with another video on Thursday.